Hey guys, before the video starts, I just want to say this video has been heavily requested, right? Long overdue, and I should have probably done this a lot sooner. I don't know why I haven't done this any sooner, but yes. I just want to say, yeah, no, sorry for the long wait. It's day 18, oh my goodness. Yeah, I hope you enjoy, because this one's for you. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing as Paraguay and conquering the south of South America. So, is it southern South America? Is that even what we're going to call it? I don't know what to call it, bro. I'm not even sure what to put on the title at this point. But I'm in between South America or Southern South America. I don't know, it just sounds funny as hell to me. I don't know why. Maybe my humor is just broken. Anyways, I start off, I put the technology points, I spread them out mostly evenly, right? And next thing I do is I want to increase my relationship with Brazil, like just, have positive relations, because let's be real, if Brazil tried to conquer me right now, I'd be good as dead. And I also, as I usually do, I got my happiness to 100%. Because honestly, I mean, listen. When people are happy, they just throw money at you. It's insane. Like they just want to pay more taxes. It's weird, but they do that. Or maybe no. Wait, no. It's not that they pay more taxes. I think it's just that they work better. Yeah, probably. Anyways, yeah, no. Okay, so what I do immediately after that is I create a huge army, right? Much bigger than I can sustain, but I send it to invade Uruguay. Now, the thing is, Uruguay is like almost equal to me in strength. So I realized, okay, I gotta put my all into this. Put my all? What? No, like just put full power. Go full throttle on this invasion, right? And I do that, and I completely conquer Uruguay, and I have like 11,000 people to spare. So what I do instead of conquering them outright is I leave part of them. I take part of their country and then leave them alive as a vassal, and I decrease my army size by about half. Now, the reason I didn't completely decrease it is because what I then wanted to do was, wait for a while, wait till my relations, wait for a while, and then decrease our relations and demand an annexation, which allowed me to completely annex Uruguay. I mean, honestly, I gotta thank some of them the comments for this idea, because on most of the time, like normally any other time, right, any other gameplay, I'd normally just like conquer the top part of Uruguay and just leave it at that. But no, not this time. This time I actually tried to take y'all's advice. I remember there's a comment telling me you should just like vassalize and then demand annexation, and I guess it worked here. So yeah, thank you guys. Anyways, I looked around and I realized, whoa, Peru is getting absolutely ganged up on. So I'm like, okay, I can't let Peru die. So I get Ecuador to attack Chile so that, Chile wouldn't be able to take the territory. And then I realized, okay, my invasion is going to have to be on Bolivia now. So I demobilize, I don't recruit from the northern provinces in Paraguay because let's be real, there's literally no one living there. But like this thing, I leave that aside, but I start attacking Bolivia because I mean, look, look, before this, right? I was contemplating what exactly my territories of this like conquest were gonna be. Like I wasn't sure what I was supposed to conquer exactly. Like initially, I thought it was just Argentina and like this Argentina and Chile and Uruguay, and that would be it. But at the same time, I was like, maybe Bolivia counts too, because like I like drew a line, like no, I looked at a map of South American continent, right? And I I don't know, I mentally drew a line, and like I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to conquer up to Bolivia, but not attack Brazil, just or something like that. I don't know what's the logic of that, but yes. Anyways, afterwards, Ecuador started attacking Argentina. Like Ecuador started pushing way too far down, so I was like, okay, I can't allow that to happen. So I got Argentina to declare war, and now there was a 2v2 basically going on, right? So then I mean, honestly, it was mainly meant to just keep the status quo going, right? Meanwhile, I started raising a massive ass army from Uruguay, ready to go and invade Argentina. Well, actually, more accurately, I bunched everyone up. Oh wait, no, I wasn't invading Argentina. My bad, my bad. I'm skipping the steps. I'm skipping the steps. Okay. First was Chile, right? So I started invading Chile. I demanded military access from Argentina. They let me through. So I landed. This was mainly so that I wouldn't have to unnecessarily, like, lose troops in a naval invasion. I mean, it's way better to do land invasions in this game because, like, the defender's buff goes down, like, as compared to a sea-borne attack. Like, cause if it's a sea-borne attack, the defender's buff just increases, and so it's a waste of troops for you. And so I started advancing straight up, right, straight to the Chilean coastline, and then I realized, shoot, Chile is literally sending troops back to naval invade their own territory and get me from behind. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose pretty much all of all of what I've just conquered right now. But since they're only like 200 people, I realized, okay, I can make it. And so I attack Santiago and I finally make it to their capital, right? And that attack goes very successfully. And soon I'm even met by Bolivian troops on the north side of Chile. So this whole war as a whole went well, right? And I realized that Peru had like annexed territories to the north, and then I thought about it, right? And then I thought about taking as much territory as I could, but I realized maybe that wasn't such a good idea, you know. And so instead, I made them a vassal once again. So again, I did the same thing I did to Uruguay. I made them a vassal, and of course, I got rid of all my troops so that I, get my economy back to life. And meanwhile, Argentina and Peru were still going at it. I mean, trust me. By the end of this, you'll see how high their casualties were. It's insane. But yes. So afterwards, I just mainly spent the rest couple of turns just chilling, right? I didn't even want to annex Chile immediately because if I did, that would mean I'd have to assimilate all of that territory, and I didn't really have the financial means to do so. So I just didn't. And then all I did was just watch Argentina and, like, I don't know, Peru kill each other. But then after a while, I tried to annex Chile. Didn't work the first time, but I tried again, and this time it worked. So they basically gave in. It was pretty easy. And then, of course, I spent the next couple of turns assimilating all of that because, I mean, you gotta. And, like, honestly, at this point, I think I was nearly, like, as strong. Maybe, no, I don't think I was as strong as Argentina, right? But, like, decent, I was decently powerful. I'd increased in strength from where I was before, at least, right? And so now what I started to do was I started to line up my troops along the Argentinian border, right? Because, of course, now if I, Argentina was obviously the main conquest of this video, right? Is going to be Argentina. And thing is, I have a lot of borders with them, so I was going to be, like, very careful with how I did this. And I'm sure you guys noticed that, like, initially, even at the start of the game, I increased my military upkeep, which, I mean, was done on purpose because I knew I was going to have a big army. Anyways, Argentina, Peru, as you can see, they just continue to kill each other in the background. But what I did was I increased my research, right? And I used that to not only improve my economy, but also continuously increase my military upkeep so that I don't have to um, spend as much, right? Afterwards, even my economy was back up, and not back up, it was even better. And as you can see, yes, they've killed like 100,000 of each other. They're just murdering each other. So I just kept going up, right? I didn't want to take any risk with this invasion. So I went all the way to like 200,000 before I started recruiting en masse all over from like all the territories of Peru, not just like, the Chilean side, right? Not just like the South Chile. Chile or Chile? I don't know I'm gonna say Chile. Anyways, And of course, couldn't forget Uruguay, that those territories as well. And by the time I was done with all this recruiting, I was pretty much broke. And so I waited for a moment for like Argentina to push Peru out for a second, and then the second they did that, I sent everybody in. And like Peru was even getting in on this, but then like Peru was weak and they'd be pushed out eventually, like because they didn't really have the troops. So me, I started my advance literally everywhere. I kind of okay, like, I'm gonna be real. I kind of like forgot about Chile for a moment, and they started attacking it. So like, and like surprisingly, I was able to take the Argentine capital like very quickly, like relatively quickly. I mean, normally you'd expect of like a decent struggle taking the capital, mainly because it's always fortified. I mean, no, like the capital always has a castle, and like the opponent can just keep a bunch of troops and then they'll like hold the capital pretty well. But no, Argentina really did not have any troops, and it makes sense. I mean, like think about it. I mean, they were dying in the thousands against Peru, so maybe they're just exhausted from the war. I'm pretty sure. So I started advancing from every single direction. And I realized, okay, Peru might start advancing too, so I need to start picking up the pace. And so I tried to quickly like move as fast as I could to cut off Peru as well. And yeah, no, that's mainly what I did for the next couple of turns. I mean, Peru came in, they started taking territory after like province after province, and I couldn't let them. Like I just had to do it as fast as I could, and luckily I managed to cut them off. Like, but then they still managed to take a gigantic amount of territory. Can I really call that gigantic? I don't know, but yeah, no. And like meanwhile in the north, somehow the Argentinians had like taken over Peru somehow. I have no clue how this happened, but yes, they like exchanged countries in a way. I don't know. It's weird, but yes, they exchanged countries. But luckily, they didn't. The Argentinians like barely had anyone up here, so it really didn't matter. And yeah, so then I basically held the territory from there. I had to rush troops up, but it didn't work. So yeah, and afterwards, I also realized that Peru would be next now that they've taken chunks of Argentina. So even before I was done with Argentina and the war, against Argentina, I started lining troops up on Peru's borders. Like, and the second Argentina died as well, I like sent troops and lined up the borders with thousands of troops. And keep in mind, look, listen, I was making a pretty big gamble here, right? Because keep in mind that I am completely in debt, right? If I lost this war to Peru, I'd be finished. So I decided to immediately just straight up go on the attack. But before that, I decided to annex Argentina, right? So I took a bunch of provinces and then puppeted the rest. And so now I had a pretty good territory. And the second that Argentinian war ended, Peru was next. I just basically brought down my entire army, or whatever was left of my army, just on them, or at least most of what was left, And the first thing I targeted was the provinces they took from Argentina, which of course were easy to take because they were weak, right? Relatively weak, because they hadn't assimilated them yet, so they can't really recruit from those provinces, right? And that's the thing. Whenever the AI like conquers another country, those provinces are usually the weakest defended because, well, they've just been conquered. So, like you can, I mean, no, not weakest. Yeah, no, they are the weakest defended because they can't recruit from those provinces. That's the only reason. Meanwhile, I also annexed Argentina, mainly because I had an army right at this point, so I could just annex them and wouldn't be a problem whatsoever. And so after that, I had to shift troops around, right? I was gonna die. I mean, wasn't gonna die, like as in, I was 100,000 in debt, right? So I would lose pretty badly if the Peruvians managed to like find a break in my lines and just exploit it, because they could exploit it to the max. Let's be real. Luckily though, I kept my lines tight. I didn't let them through for nothing. Meanwhile, they did try to send an army like naval invasion, but they were stupid as hell. Like they attacked the exact province on the coast, like which had troops. Like you're telling me you had the entire Chilean, South American, South American coastline to choose to attack from, and you chose the one province with troops. It don't make sense. So that happened, right? And then I thought, okay, I thought about a peace deal, right? But then I was like, wait, why not just conquer more? So that's what you're seeing right here. I was just like, if I can, why not? And so I basically continued the conquest. And at some point, so many people had died from my army that my military upkeep went down, and so I started making money again. But of course, I was still way too heavily in debt to even fathom what, like being having a positive economy felt like. Ultimately, though, the war ended, and I was like, okay, I took all the territories I needed, and I also puppeted Peru because why not? And of course, I also brought all my troops back to Peru itself, or can I even call it Peru anymore? It's just I don't know, some federation or something. But then what happened was a rebellion popped up, and I was like, okay, this is not good news. So we have conquered South America, or South America. So then once this was over, I thought, why not more? And so it's many turns later, we've finished assimilating. Now we have prepared a grand army to invade Brazil. Now Brazil right now is at war with the Americans, and so I thought, okay, this might be a good time to invade and take land as much as we can. And thing is, Brazil is way stronger than us, but I was like, you know what, I can take this gamble. And so I went all in and started taking land, territory after territory. Yeah, I know this might be slower a little bit, but that's just because this is normal speed. But yes, so I started taking territory after territory in Brazil, and like I started advancing, and like there was no fight back. And then I realized they pushed back with about 18,000 people in the north, where I had absolutely nothing defending whatsoever. And see, I thought I could contain it because I was like, okay, we can manage, right? I had 50,000 money left. I could fight back. But then they started pushing very quickly and rapidly, and they straight up turned around my advance out of nowhere. And like, of course, I kept trying to push in the coastal area, right? Because that was going well until now, and I thought, okay, I can afford to ignore the top part. But then I was like, this is actually gonna be a problem. And I thought about it, but I was like, you know what? Maybe it's best I make peace. Before things got a little too out of hand, and Brazil just completely annihilates me. So yeah, just like that, I ended up basically conquering the south part of Brazil, and you know what? I think the borders look a bit better now. Like I think it's a little bit closer to what I could have, what would have looked pretty good. At least I don't know. It's the borders look better. I mean, we have a decently sized army, which I just didn't want to get. I just did not want to get absolutely vaporized. Oh, and just one final thing before this video ends. I just decided to annex Peru completely, and just as I annexed them, a revolt happened, and I don't really care about that. So, anyways, yeah, finally the video is over. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.